Hello, hearts. I got a large veggie pizza. I'm nice and comfy in a cute sweatshirt, so get comfy with me. If you want to grab a bite to eat, go ahead and do so as well. This is my first mukbang, and oftentimes I actually get asked about vampirism, which is interesting because I don't really vampirize that often, psychic vampirism. Let me start off with some soda. I drink a lot of soda, actually. I drink a lot of water too. Diet soda. And this cup. Whoa, I can see the soda bouncing. How are you? This is more of a chill talk. I don't think I ever noticed that. Probably because of the lights that soda does that. It almost looks like a fountain show. I haven't had pizza from this place before, but I have had some of their penne pasta with meatballs and a salad, and it was oh so good. So I figured their pizza would be amazing too. I was gonna go to this other place, but for some reason they weren't open today. But all good. So I got veggie. Grab a slice here. Show ya. Okay, some of the toppings are already fallen off. It has mushroom, bell peppers, onions, arugula. Looks good. Veggie pizza is actually my favorite. I was vegan for 7 years. I'm not vegan anymore. Put some Parmesan cheese too on some of these slices. Do you think I can eat it all? And I like a lot of different pizza. I always found it funny how pineapple and pepperoni pizza, or just pineapple on pizza in general, was always a big deal. Okay. It's really good. I love pineapple and pepperoni is another one of my favorites. So I'm putting some red peppers on some of these slices. And also I love pepperoni and mushroom. I've definitely had a large pizza in my day. There's a lot of toppings on here. The crust seems very thin. I actually like thicker crust. But I can't really complain because thin crust is good for, I guess having less calories. I'm gonna go grab some napkins. I should have done that. Well, let me take a couple more bites. I was so hungry on the way here because I picked up the pizza That's, you know, a big test is when the pizza's smelling so good and you just want a slice, but I wanted to wait for you guys and girls. I'm not usually a complainer about food, actually. I usually go to places that I know I'll like or that have a lot of really good reviews, so. Cried? Okay. Don't talk with your mouth full, Necro Nicki. I don't like the crust. I'm actually surprised. I like the soft, really chewy kind of crust. Arugula on pizza is interesting. It looks like a salad on a pizza. Let me know in the comments if you think I can finish. And what's your favorite pizza? I hope you had an amazing day. This is a new hoodie that I got. I love the color. Yellow, anything yellow, orange, and a golden hue is my favorite. And there's mushrooms on it. There really isn't that much cheese either. It's like hard bread and a bunch of veggies with a little bit of sauce and a tiny bit of cheese. Some people like their crust thin and crispy though, yeah? Do you see the scythe back there? I got that today. So, since it's cold in Indiana, I don't have a witchy garden outside. Oh, wow. It was definitely, or quite a few times it got below 30 degrees, and apparently a lot of plants don't do that well, you know. Besides trees and plants that do good in colder weather temperatures, herbs and whatnot won't do that well, or flowers usually. Obviously, depending on the flower or the tree. I like to have a witchy garden with a variety of herbs. So I'm going to try doing that indoors. I got about 8 different pots. I got some cactus, aloe vera, vines. I want to grow vines throughout my place. And a bunch of seeds for herbs. I will get to vampirism. I just wanted to have small talk before. Mundane talk, even though it is still witchy because I'm talking about a witchy garden I'm gonna have. I'm actually gonna, like, when the slices are too big, I tear them apart. Yeah, I can eat this large piece. It's really big though. I'll tell you when I get halfway. I have one more piece before we get halfway. My precious makeup. I rarely have pizza. I do feel less guilty though since the crust isn't that thick. The combination of, there's also spinach on here, of the veggies, the cheese, and the sauce are really good though. Alright, last piece before I'm halfway. And I'll tell you the story. Usually, when I tell stories to my friends, they're kind of all over the place. I'll get excited and start talking about a bunch of things to where it's almost as if it's a soap opera. Because I have a bunch of different stories going, and then as soon as one gets good, I'll start thinking about another story. So, oh, that's what happened. So I went to the mall. A newer store opened. They had really cute pots, and I really want to have a bunch of plants in my place to raise the vibrations. So I got 8 different pots. And then I thought, wow, I need to go to a nursery. And I learned my lesson in California when I had my garden, because I learned that getting at a nursery and getting organic soil and plants from the nursery and various ingredients, my plants are growing a lot better. And so I went to this new nursery. I was shopping around. I noticed there was some cool antique stuff in the nursery part where the plants were. Just looking if I spilled anything already. But I thought that they were just part of the shop, you know? How some stores will have awesome display cases, but it's stuff that's not for sale. So that's what I thought. I would not order a pizza from this place again. There's actually a pizza place, that the first pizza place I went to around here. It's a little bit farther, but it's really, really good. They make it exactly how I like it. Just soft and chewy and really cheesy. Anyway, so I found a bunch of seeds and plants that I wanted to get. And I told the lady, well, I'm going to go outside. And I still went outside even though most of the plants weren't doing so good because, you know, it was just, the weather was really cold recently, besides the trees, the mini trees and whatnot. And then there's this one room, and what was weird is it didn't even have a sign that it was an antique room. Okay. It didn't say shop or anything like that. It did have a sign where I knew it was obvious that customers can go in there, and then I went in there and I was like, whoa. There was a lot of really cool antique stuff. Some of it was expensive. Like I wanted to get a typewriter. And that was over $100, so I said no. Usually when I go to antique stores, if something's $5 or $10 and I really, really want it, I'll usually get it if I have the extra money. I try and spend max about $30. And if I really, really need something or it's really nice, a little bit for more, I might get it. But usually that's my price range. And I got a good deal on that scythe right there. I also got these deer antlers. Those were really cheap. I want to get more actually. And you're supposed to hang them on the wall. I got those for only $10. The antlers. Some stuff feels a lot cheaper out here. You know, there's department stores and some things are just have a certain average retail price. But at smaller stores, it seems as I would say on average some things are noticeably cheaper than they would be in California. And so yeah, I definitely want to go back there. I got a really cool green chest too. I'll eventually show you guys, which I can stack my green vintage suitcase on top of it, which is perfect. And that was, yeah, a great price. So I definitely want to go back. There were about 5 different chests that didn't have a price on it, but they said they'd get back to me on the cost of those, because I guess the antique shop, it's on the same property but run a little bit differently. So yes, I definitely want to go back there for sure. There was a lot of stuff there that I liked. I had a bunch of sickles and scythes. I already had a smaller scythe, but I've been looking for a bigger one. Never thought I'd do ASMR on my actual food. Okay, so psychic vampirism. What? This is a huge pizza. I mean, this is a huge piece. Like, what? I'm gonna try my best to finish this. So, I feel as though I was a vampire early on, and I was socially conditioned to be for just the atmosphere I was brought up around. Wow. I don't know why I grabbed that piece. So there's different types of psychic vampires. I would say a lot of people do vampirism, especially people who you feel who are venty. They will vent to you and have a lot of negativity and chaos constantly going around, and when they put that energy around you by talking about it, one would feel tired after. So back in the day, when I was about drama and all that, I would say I was doing vampirism. I would vent and tell these crazy stories of stuff that was going on, and there was continuous chaos around me because I was bringing it in. I'm talking 15 years ago. So that's one way. If you kind of notice that, I would just try and avoid those conversations if you don't want to be vampirized. If you feel as though someone you know is constantly doing that and your energy feels drained, I would try and change the subject or just bring it to their attention. You could say, because I when I started learning about it, someone was a magician was actually purposefully doing this to me when I first started getting into magic, and he would call me and vent every night, and then I got to the point where I said, I was being nice about it, so I didn't straight up say, hey, you're a psychic vampire, you're vampirizing me. About the person he kept venting about, or people, I said, it sounds like they're being psychic vampires. So that made it to where he was aware that I was aware of what was going on, you know, and I just was indirectly, in a polite way, saying it. Because a lot of people are sensitive. Even though I'm real, I don't mind telling someone, hey, you're vampirizing me, or hey, you're being a psychic vampire, you know? You know, sometimes it's nice to say things in the nicest way you possibly can, you know, to where they understand what you're saying. And so after that, he actually stopped doing it, so that was good. And I just became more aware if I felt as though that was going on with someone being really negative or venting and me just feeling that way. And then many years later, I ended up dating a psychic vampire, and that's when I really started experiencing some vampiric drainage going on with my energy in a very severe way. So I had to stop the camera because for some reason my camera I have only records for 30 minutes. So let's decide, okay, I've been eating, let me look in the mirror, and I had pizza on my face. It's so embarrassing. That's why I don't really like eating in front of people. I actually prefer going to restaurants by myself. And I'm not big on watching people eat either, but I do like watching some mukbang videos. Some fun ones where it just looks like an amazing feast, or those jelly ones, and also feasts that I've never had before always really interest me, just to see their reactions. So when I was dating someone and they were severely vampirizing me, I noticed something, that I was sleeping less but very tired for about 3 days. So it was almost as though they were continually feeding on my energy, and I would still sleep at night, but not as long. I sleep a lot. I usually sleep about 9 hours, at least, sometimes 10 hours, depending on what I have going on. Sometimes it might be less than that. On average, though, 9 hours. So if I start noticing that I'm only, that I'm sleeping less and that I'm feeling a lot tired, but I can't go to sleep, that's when I noticed, and then I brought it up to the person, and then they said, yeah, I was accidentally vampirizing you. So they admitted to it. That's why more soda. I brought a second can. You gotta listen to your intuition, because the times I've called people out, they knew that, I knew what was up. So if I know someone, and I know what they're up to, then I'll kind of play around and vampirize them and just see what happens. They start doing the same thing starts happening to them. They start feeling all tired. I'm not one to really be about that. You can get energy from anything, even plants. Belial taught me that when I went through my huge transformation ritual, where he transformed my DNA and really just spiritually told me what chakras to focus on and set my path, what I should be reading less of and whatnot. That's when he really started showing me vampirism. I like plant energy, and if I do vampirism with plants, which is probably why I wanted to get a bunch of plants. I like how it looks too, and it just feels good, you know? It feels nice taking care of the plants and talking to them. And I don't drain the plants of their energy. It's just more feeling it, you know? Because there's difference between feeling energy and taking a little bit and having an energy exchange. Another big thing with psychic vampirism is there's an energy exchange for the most part. So sometimes you get a little bit of the vampire's energy, and you usually do. If someone's really trying to drain your energy, though, they're going to be getting more of it, you know? And I'm really picky on what I vampirize. If I do vampirize someone, it's usually an artist because I want to get inspired, you know? You got to be careful because sometimes people will just say, oh, I vampirized this spirit or this person, and it's kind of why. It's similar to invoking a spirit and getting possessed. Usually you'll want to get, if you choose it, as opposed to the spirit just possessing you. If you choose, to invoke a spirit, it's usually because you want to be more like it or take on some of those characteristics, you know? Wow, I should have thought of this earlier. Pizza party, newbie, eating it like a taco, it's just so much easier. Because when it's so big and you're trying to eat some of it and you're just hoping the toppings don't fall off, this secures all the toppings in there. I don't know if I've ever eaten pizza like this before. Which reminds me of a story I'll tell you after I'm done eating this piece. And then we have one piece left, but it's like the huge, gigantic piece. We'll see if I finish it like a champ. I mean, I'm not really eating the crust. And there's some scraps of toppings, but for the most part, I'm going to try and finish it. I don't know if I mentioned I was only going to get a medium pizza, but they didn't have it. They only had personal size and large. Well, let's talk for a little bit. It's always good if you're eating a lot, take a break. So, some ways to protect yourself from psychic vampires. Call them out, like I said. I would say, I don't really worry about it. It's more of, if you don't really care, it doesn't usually affect you so much. For example, the times that I felt more affected, because I've generally, for the most part, most of my life, I've had friends who are witches, sorcerers, and so I notice in my beginning years, if I was more paranoid about getting cursed or being vampirized, that's when those things would happen. So it's like cursing or vampirizing yourself and inviting them in. But as soon as you don't care, you're not even, that's the last thing you're really thinking about. It's good to protect yourself and cleanse your energy, but when you're not worried about it, it seems to affect you less. I would recommend psychically cleansing your auric field once a week. You can put a protective shield. I used to do that stuff and had these elaborate, crazy protective shields. I don't really do that though now, or I don't actually, because I'm not really afraid of anything. If someone's trying to actually present themselves to me, I'll usually see their astral body or feel their energy, see them in my dreams and whatnot. So with vampirizing other people or objects, if you want to, it's mainly just visualizing the energy go into your auric field. So say you want to vampirize a plant, you can stick your hand out and just feel it, the energy slowly go to your hand. I've done it with my eyes, just staring something down and just picturing their energy draining and feeling your energy body growing bigger. It's just, I don't really see the point of doing that all the time. I don't depend on it, because then what's the point of that? It's just depending on something for energy. When I see myself as the universe, then I don't really have to worry or need to vampirize other things or people, because I am that energy and I just have all the energy. So if you're ever feeling really drained and you feel as though you've been vampirized, a good thing to do would be just to imagine that you are the universe and you have all the energy of the universe, and that will usually do you good. Certain crystal quartz is great for either storing vampiric energy or for energizing yourself. Alright, I'm going to this. One day I might show you guys my YouTube setup. I have this little timer that shows me time the videos. There's just so many steps and such a process, and after doing it over the years, every time I do a video I learn something new or I try and get better. I forgot to turn on my timer, which will, just show me how long I've been going, so I know. Oh, I put a lot of peppers on this one. It's spicy. This is the only one that tastes spicy to me, actually. Which is good. I love spicy. There are vampiric deities you might want to work with. I haven't heard anyone else say this, but I would honestly recommend Belial. He was the first one who had me feel energies that in that sense. And when I went through my transformation, all my senses were way more sensitive. So even if I wasn't trying to feel plant energies around me, I was. And just everything was a lot more crisp. Someone might want to vampirize someone back if they feel as though they're vampirizing them. to me that's low vibrational. It really depends, unless there's certain aspects of that person or deity or object's energy that I want to obtain for a higher vibration, then it's worth it to me. Yeah, I guess the best way to do it really is just to try it and experiment with it. Yeah. It's not an easy thing to explain. And I would just experiment with different techniques. Grab a book or two. Also, if I curse someone, I'll vampirize them and give their energy to the shadow people. Not with every curse, but if I'm doing a really intense one, and I'll usually, at the end of the curse, perform that move last. I'm really not big about curses. Usually, I've had to curse people just because they pretty much curse themselves. I've had to do it for justice. I'm not out there just looking to curse people for fun. The mukbang videos are pretty intense. People who do it on the regular. I like eating. I'm usually the person out of my friends who finishes their plate. I like to get down on food. It's just, I couldn't do that all the time and with certain types of foods, because I just feel so heavy. I generally eat lighter. Okay, I'm only gonna have one big bite of this because most of this is actually just pure crust. The crust is really thick. There's quite a bit of crust and toppings left. I'm full, so as I keep eating. It was pretty good though. I guess I am really picky with food now that I think about it. And so that's pretty much the basics on vampirism. If you have any questions, you could always ask me on my YouTube channel. I like responding to questions and comments on my channel, and it helps me out with that YouTube algorithm. Let me touch your energy. I'm not taking much. Just touch. And as usual, like, comment, subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and please share this video with some of your friends that you believe would be into it. Later, darlings.